Is the today what we are going to discuss in so this is common for the all like classic or lightning aura or lwc or aura company, everyone is common. So today we are going to discuss into the brief introduction to the what is an apex class. So in this mainly we are going to cover to the what is apex, how works in the apex in salesforce, what is the main key features of the apex, and when should we use to the apex code, and what is the difference between the traditional programming and Apex programming, and the Salesforce autonomy. I prepared the notes as well. I will share to the once this video upload. At the time I will upload the notes as well. Okay, so yeah, keep on mute your side. Something mic sound is coming. No? Yeah. So the main what is an Apex? So Apex it is a mainly programming language. It is owned developed by the Salesforce side, their own formatting that is called the Salesforce Apex. Okay, Salesforce Apex we are calling in the Salesforce side. It is strongly typed object-oriented programming language. Already we know, right? OOPS concepts like Java, .NET, all are the running on the OOPS concept based only. So same like here Apex coding also running onto the OOPS based. It is also almost similar to the Java and .NET syntaxes, but little bit is the different. They can form their own format now, Salesforce. That's why little bit is changing. But compared to the Java or .NET, it is also similar to the same syntax. They are also built onto the OOPS concept based object-oriented programming language. So we can execute to the Apex class with the controller by the versions also. Versions nothing but the new features will coming to know in that. Based on that, new features also will be added into the here. And it's not a case sensitive. So actually Aura or LWC we have some case sensitive, no? But it is not a case sensitive. We can give the capital or small. That's it. Fine. It is accept. No, no. Aura is the lightning. Aura is the lightning. Aura and where here in Aura is the actual one of the open source tool now. Aura is that is the HTML type. That is the Aura is the separate. Like HTML, how we are the open source. Like Aura is also open language. That is the Aura. So and here Apex syntax is the mostly like to the Java. It is like to store the like the producers nothing like the and store the data in variables. Same like here also the in Apex class also we can store the data like that. Okay, so this is the mainly and how to works means so in Salesforce side. So actually we are the developers, right? We are the developer. Initially we can develop by the Apex class are triggers. Triggers is the important topic. We have this we can discuss later that is. So either Apex or trigger, both are codings only. So while we are implementing the coding, when we are saving, once we click on the save button, initially it is compiling to the means it is followed by the syntax or not. If any syntax errors, it is throw an error. It is throw an error. So once it is successfully complied without any issues, it is committed to the main database stored to our main Apex class, and here based on that class code it is returning to the some records or any kind of the data it is returning to the from the database. So here compiler error so what just discuss just if any compiler error it is returned to the immediate to the developer, we can understand that we are mistaken to like this number. So Apex class side strictly given to the errors, it's not an issue to us. Compared to the lightning side it is not giving some proper error message, no? But in Apex class it is given to the exactly line numbers where it is we are getting an error, everything will provided into the Apex class side. And same thing end user using the same class now means we are not showing the class but they can use some buttons or tabs while we are giving, no? Same time they click onto the request means click onto the submit button like that. Initially check it by the compiler any issues or anything, it is successfully compiled. Again back go to the our database and return to the result here. So developer action or Apex code written to the compile to the set of the instructions. Actually, we are going to follow the write the some Apex class code based on the Salesforce provided some instructions. Based on that instructions only, we are going to write the code. Nothing but instructions, nothing but syntax only. Like this syntax only we need to follow. Based on that syntax, we can implement into the code. So that can be understood by the Apex runtime. Developer save the code platform, then it is saved to the main database. End user also, when the event is executed by the Apex code, events nothing but like click on the buttons or click on the links or click on the tabs. No? Based on that, it will be the executing. It will be the executing to the here. So I think it's a recording right section. Yeah. So end users also execute the same, but developer is the writing the code. He can check it by it is working fine or not, or we are testing. No? End user also do the same thing, but they clicks onto the buttons or links on some kind of the action base. It is running to the code. So this is the two ways to we can run by the Apex code. So mainly, what is the features of the Salesforce? The main features of the Salesforce is the easy to use. So if you don't have the knowledge also, if you leave it Java or .NET, I will start with a very basic level. So easy to use to the Apex code compared to the classic version. In Lightning version, we are writing very less code compared to the classic version. Classic version time we are writing a number of lines of the code. For example, 100 lines of code writing in the classic side. Come to the Lightning side, almost we are going to write the 30 to 40 lines of the code only. Why? Because the rest of the code, everything we can write into the Aura controller or LWC controller side only. So client side. And it is a strongly typed means it is standard syntax only, auto upgrades and easy to test and multi tenant environment. So you and me at a time we can use by the same Apex class also. Strong data integration between the two different platforms. No? So these are the main key features. Easy to use, strongly typed and strongly data integration. So Salesforce environment to the we can connect with to the either SAP systems or sorry either SAP systems or like any other platforms we can integrate into the system. And automatic upgrades nothing in latest versions automatically updated by the Salesforce. That upgradations we are going to do the here. And multi-tenant environment. Already we know that Salesforce is the multi-tenant environment. At a time, multiple people access to the applications. Like WhatsApp, we have to select number of people at a time using it. That is called the multi-tenant environment. Multiple people at a time accessing to the same application. And easy to test. We can test it now. What we are developed, that is easy to test it by the application. So next is the when we are going to use to the actual Apex code. Already we have the admin, right. So why we are going to come to the Apex coding side? So the mainly we are coming to the coding side. Admin side also we can connect with to the web services. Web services nothing but the we can connecting to the integrations. That is called the integration one system to another system. We can write our own business logic purpose. We are going to write the web services, email services also. So complexity validations with multiple objects. So with relational, without relationship objects based also we can raise the write the some complex validation rules. So up to some level only supported by the admin, but after that we need to write the our own custom validation rules, multiple objects involved. That is so complex business process not supported by the declarative means admin. Complex business process, multiple conditions based or that kind of the business process not supported by the declarative. So that's why here we are coming to this Apex code. So traditional logic we are going to write and custom logic to the another operation attached to the custom logic. So custom logics we can own build. So once click onto the button only I want to display some kind of the data based on some conditions. So that kind of the some business logic we are going to implement. So mainly, so this is also one of the interview question asking to the interviewer why we are going to the Apex class. So we can say to the complex validation rules implementation with multiple objects, web services, email services, and complex business process and we can write our own business logic, custom logic to the some other operations like insert or updation time. We can write to some our own custom logics also we are going to implement to the here. So that's why we are choose to the Apex class. So the main difference between the what is the traditional programming and Apex programming. Apex programming nothing but it is Salesforce inbuilt they are implementing. Na? That's why this is called Apex programming. This is also built by the OOPS concepts based on it. But everyone has their own identity. Na? That's why they are mentioning to the Apex programming. Some different syntaxes is almost the same, but writing is the little bit is different. So the main difference between the traditional is the fully flexible. So for example, Java or .NET, we can write it. Now there is no any governor limits. Anything we can give to it is accepted by the coding. But in Salesforce, actually, some governor limits we have. What is mean by the governor limits means here? So some kind of the restrictions. Why? Because they can avoid it to the burden to the server. They are avoiding to the burden to the server. They are reducing the traffic to the server purpose. They are introducing the governor limits. So that is separate topic. I will explain that is. So in governor limits, nothing but the, so for example, we are inserting the data or updating the data. We are doing the multiple times, multiple records. But system, what happened? It goes to this, so performance is the very low, and traffic is the huge na multi-tenant architecture, right? It is this, so multiple people accessing. So we can avoid to the traffic and best practices purpose. Salesforce introduced by the some governor limits. So different areas, different governor limits we have. Which topic wise I will explain to that governor limit. So that's why system what is allowed to that kind of the code we can write it. So for example, DML operations. Example nothing but we are inserting or updating the records. So it is allowed to the only 150. In single transaction, we can write the 150 DML operations like insert or update operations. I will show you that is. So system is accepted with up to 150 DML operations only in single transaction. In single transaction, nothing but for example, I am going to insert the account records, contact records, opportunity record. These are the three different objects. So three different operations: insert. So here we have used the three insert operations. Na? So system counted by the three DML operations you perform. So up to 150 is fine. If more than 150 it is throw an error, your DML exception is limit is exceeded to 151. That kind of error message is showing to us. So that's why we are going to write some best practices. That is called the governor language. So Apex is the governor language. So system what is accepted, that is only we can write it by the here. Traditional language, there is no any restrictions. And also we don't have the separate test classes. But in Apex class, we have some separate topic is the test classes also. Once test class is the more than 75%, what we are returning the code na, that code compulsory we can validate. We are correctly or not writing the code, we are follow the best practices or not. That is checking by the test classes. Out of the 100 percentage, compulsory above the 75 above only code coverage is the then only we can able to deploy to the production. So we can able to deploy the production. That is also one of the topic actually test classes, how we are going to develop by the test class also. That is the one of the future in the in Apex side. But traditional language side, there is no any test classes. What we are returning na total code we can able to deploy. But in Apex class side, we can must and should justify the why we are returning to the code. So that is purpose we are writing the implementing the test classes. So that is the total we call the governor language. This is called the totally governor language. That is the main difference between the traditional code and Apex code. Okay, so this is the main difference. And coming to the mainly Salesforce autonomy, nothing but the compared to the declarative tool and programming tool, declarative tool and programming tool. So the declarative tool is actually Salesforce or any other things. It is run by the MVC architecture, na model view controllers. Any architecture it's running by the MVC architecture, model view controllers. So view nothing but the user interface UI. Controller nothing but our business logic. Already we discussed once we are using the remote controller. We can give some 30 or 40. That is the UI. Based on that, it is hit to the database. It is checking to the background logic. He is enter the 20 or 30 or it is jump to the that channel. That is the business logic. So it is hit to the background some logic. That is database side logic. So that is the model view controller. Model nothing but the data model. What is the objects? What is the relationship between those objects? What is the data stored into the objects? No? That is all we call to the data model. Data model, that is the model. What are the objects? What is the relationship between the objects? It is the declarative to standard objects and custom objects now we have. But coming to the programming tool, we called the S object and wrapper class. S objects nothing but Salesforce standard and objects and Apex classes also. So wrapper classes, this is also separate topic we have. Wrapper class is nothing but the class within the another class. We can reusability purpose, we can combine the data and display the data purpose we can use to the wrapper. There is no relationship between the two objects, but I want to display the data in the single table. So it is the wrapper class supported. Unrelated objects or unrelated data, we can wrap it to the one table, wrap it to the one output purpose we are using to the wrapper classes. This is also separate topic. Sorry. And come to the controller. Controller side, actually we have writing some logic now. Lightning workflows, process builder, flows. So these are the some kind of the actions is running, like insert the record or updating the records, or we are sending the some email alerts in a process builder. Also workflows also we are using outbound message in web services. Up to some level only we can do it into the in the coding, sorry, declarative side. But come to the Apex side, we can write the Apex classes, Apex triggers. We call the Apex classes are triggers. Triggers also nothing but the Apex triggers we are calling. So we can write our own business logic here. Our own business logic, nothing but the client will be providing to us na business logic. That kind of the logic we are going to implement it by the here. As for the requirement, we are going to implement it to the here. And finally, user interface. End of the time, as they can see the end users using the logic means what they are expecting. Just they are asking us. They based on that we are going to developing the logic. So for example, they are asking to while checking the one checkbox, I want to display some list of the cases or some list of the cities. For example, I am going to select on India. India related states I want to display. That kind of they are just they are giving to the logic only. Based on that logic, we are implementing by our own coding how to fetch to the from the database. Already some data stored into the objects. No? For example, I am going to select by one account related to the I have some contacts. So client is saying that when I'm selecting the account, just I want to display account related contacts information. So that is the client will be provided to us. That business logic we are going to implement. How we are going to get the account related contacts. That is we are going to implement it by the through Apex class or triggers. We can choose to the depending upon to the requirement. Either Apex class or triggers. Business logic nothing. Just they are explained to the logic. So what they are expecting, that is the user stories they are going to define in Jira stories or right. So that stuff they can provide to us. Business logic we can implement based on that requirement. We are going to implement it by the logic. Okay. So next coming to the user interface UI. Simply we call it the UI. So page layouts, lightning pages. Page layouts also already we have discussed. So in classic side we are going to use by the page layout. Lightning side we are using the lightning pages. Both are same only, but depends upon to the requirement. In classic side we are using the layout, page layouts, and lightning pages means in single page we are using the multiple components. Now that is the lightning pages. If you click on the new button, it is displaying the one layout. Now depends upon the requirement we are going to aligning now. So while creation of the sales representatives, we can create the personal information, job information, address information. So like the sections we are creating, that is called the page layouts we have done, right? Lightning pages means we are added in the last sections also. We are one more component added into the pages. So lightning side is the lightning pages. We are calling the page layouts. Coming to the programming tool side, Visual Force. This is the classic version only. We are using the Visual Force pages. But now anyone not used into the in real time Visual Force pages, almost it's closed, not implemented any one new requirement. If any existing implemented functionality, if there any issues, they can just working only. But most of the companies almost migrated to the lightning only, not using to the Salesforce, Visual Force, sorry. Any one or two members might be using the still Visual Force pages. If they have the any issues or some add-on, little bit some add-on only we can do, but fresh new requirement we are not implemented by the in Visual Force pages. Using the lightning, Aura components are web components only, Aura components are web components, these two only. Depends upon to the client, they can compulsory implement by the web component, they are strictly asking to us. Some of the clients it's okay, they don't bother about that, either Aura or web components we can able to decide, we can implement it, anything is fine. But okay to everyone lending to the web component. But Aura also okay. Interview side also most of the questions asking to the Aura side only. LWC newly started recently, couple of years only back, but fully not asking to the anything here. So this is the Salesforce. What is background? It is the running by the Apex class 2 compared to the declarative and the programming. Both are the difference. Okay, mainly we can run by the MVC architecture, model view controller. Controller. Okay, so this is the basic information about the Aura only. Aura only. Based on the Aura LWC. Sorry. Aura asking by default asking the Aura only. If you have the experience, if you have the knowledge on the LWC, they can ask to the questions. Otherwise, they are not asking the question. Just we can say I have some knowledge only, but I am not get to chance to work on to or implement it to the LWC. That is manageable. They are not asking to strictly on the LWC. Might be some projects they exactly their requirement LWC only. They can ask to the LWC. Otherwise, Aura, if you know, similar to the Aura LWC, both are same, but syntactically little bit is different. So if you good at in Aura, easy to understand the LWC. It's not take much time compared to the Aura. No, no, no. In Apex class side, we are writing the LW integrations. In Apex classes only, we are writing the integration. Integration is nothing but it is some kind of the code only we can integrate into the one system to the another system. This is the UI only now. In UI, we are not going to do any integrate, right? Based on the Apex class, what is given to the inputs, that is only we are going to display in UI. That's it. UI is the just a design only. How to display the data, which side we want to display, what is the sections, what is the columns. Just like designing only, UI, user interface, that's it only. So with the help of the Aura or LWC component, we are going to display the UI. Like HTML, you know, right? HTML, we are writing some tables. That is just UI only, no? Developing the pages. That's it only. Total main logic in the Apex classes only. Total main logic, we are going to write the Apex classes only. Based on that, some filter condition, some kind of the data, we can do it by the Aura and LWC UI display side only. I will show you coming sections, easy to understand. So up to this is the very basic information of the Apex classes. Any other queries? Any questions? So next to now we are going to discussing before starting to the Apex class. Minimum basic knowledge is required by the OOPS concepts. So OOPS concepts is the application programming interface. This is not only related to the Salesforce. If you go to the Java or .NET or anything, it is common for the OOPS concepts. It is common for the OOPS concepts. Introduction to the OOPS concepts. What is the difference between the object and the class? So what is the abstraction? What is the encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance? This is the common for the all the OOPS concepts implemented like Java, .NET, Salesforce. So anything. So OOPS concepts in programming language, it is using to the either classes or objects. So the mainly OOPS concept is the programming technique that is the using for the creating the programs. Program nothing but the coding. Okay. The program method is the we have to the class object under the fall come to the categories like class and objects. I will explain what is the difference between the class and object also. But in the coding side, we are calling to the our objects as objects like standard objects and custom objects. Both we are going to add it. So objected programming is the already we know that it is the methodology we can define to the our classes and objects. So the mainly OOPS concepts is the developing to the software development. Already every time we know right in starting on in our studies time also we are discussing the OOPS concept. Any programming language we are developing to the mainly very basic base is the using to the programming language only, object oriented programming language. So in this mainly we are dealing with to the objects, classes, interface, sorry, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. These four are the OOPS concepts, the main four pillars. Actually, main four pillars of these OOPS concepts. Object and class. So mainly object is nothing but the already we have discussed in a declarative side. Like we are creating our own custom objects or using the standard object. Objects are nothing but the objects nothing but physically existing, that is called an object, like laptop, phone, like car, anything. So object is the physically existing, that is called an object. Each object contain the properties. So for example we discussed to the car is an object. What is the car name, what is the car model number, what is the car color, what is the engine, like this everything we are going to capture now, that is all called the fields. Car name, car model number, manufacturer year, like that we are going to capture now, that is all the fields. So which is the physically existing, that is we call the object. So in Salesforce side also we are storing the data now, physically store the data into the database. We can able to accessing now to the Salesforce. If you go to the Java or .NET also, we are going to store the data into the database. That is called the object. Object is the physically existing. They call the object. Data stored into the in object. So like this in Salesforce side, already we have the objects now like account. Account, it is the reference variable. We can discuss later actually this is account. This is the object account, just it is a reference variable. New account. This is called the already existing object. We are allocating the memory or initializing to the object. Initializing to the new record purpose. Click on to new now. When we click on to the new background, actual they are returning the like this. New memory allocation. So after that, each in account object we have the different type of the fields, name, rating, industry, like that. No? So for example, any name we are going to give test account. So for example, here we are coming to the accounts. So once you click on to the new, this is the UI user interface. Like this, I want to display the right side is the buttons. These are the columns, tables. Like this, this is the user interface. Once we click on to the new in UI, it is it to the controller. In controller, we are writing this some logic, memory allocation. Once you click on to the new, so background they are returning to the account to some reference where this table we are going to store. Now this is the one reference. One memory is allocated. That memory name will be stored to the here. So that is the here we call to the memory allocation or initialize to the object. Initialize to the object we call to the initialize to the object. So once initializing, here we have the different fields now, like name, account number, fax, website, like this. We are going to store to the each individual field. So that is called the here. This is the here assigning the values, assigning the values to the field name of the account. Same way. In coding side, actually they are mapping to this is background, or individually we are going to mapping to like this. So object is the like this memory allocation are initialized to the memory for the object. So simple definition, directly definition is called the object is the physically existing in front of us. That is called the object. Now class is it is a collection of different objects. So for example, different objects, nothing but the so we are using the account contact or different tables. So simple definition is the class is it is a blueprint of an object. It is a blueprint of an object. So it is not physically existing into the database. Only code is existing into the database only, but data doesn't hold the classes. Classes doesn't hold the any data. Already existing data too, we can capture the information, but in class we can access to the one or more objects. One or more objects. So for example, here car showroom. In car showroom, we have the different type of the cars, different type of the models, right? So that is the each car contain the separate properties like what is the price or specifications, functions. So these are all the different types, right? So that is the class is just like an a object. It is equal to object, but doesn't exist the physically not exist, doesn't hold the any data, not hold the any data by the class, already existing only we are going to use to the in the class. Simple interquestional simple definition, class is an a blueprint of an object. That's it, enough. Okay, so like this we are going to declaring the class. I will explain the syntax later. Actually public class, our class name. So here we have the objects and our methods. Objects nothing but for example account. In account I just click on new button, that is the one method. In JavaScript side we are calling to the functions or properties. Sorry, not functions. Only we call the buttons called the functions. Properties nothing but the like what is the car number, what is the car price. That is the properties. In Salesforce side we are calling to the data types. In Salesforce side we are calling to the data types, but in JavaScript side, Java side we are calling to the properties. Functions in the JavaScript side, in Apex class side we are calling to the methods. In methods, okay. So the main difference between the that is class and object. So here simple example. So physically existing now these are the four students. In the four students have the each one has their own name and roll numbers. So data physically existing, we can store the data with these members. What is the name? What is the roll number of the student? This is called an object. Based on the object, here the four members. Four members have the common like name, roll number. So here we have to the name and roll number. Set name, set roll number, nothing but the methods. We are going to map to the name. Already we discussed in our component when we are going to set the set and getter method. Setting nothing but we can set the value to the variable. Getter method nothing but we are getting the data. Same like here on in class, it is the class student is the my class name. In this name and roll numbers is the properties or data types. Properties or data types. In JavaScript side we are calling to the properties. In the Salesforce side we are calling to the data types. Okay, and here set and name and set roll numbers is the methods. So our functions is we call to the JavaScript side we are calling the functions. Here we are calling to the methods. We have the methods. So this is the main difference between the object and class. So some similarly we can explain one more way also. Class is and just imaginary. In my mind, or we can our thoughts we are just imagine like this BMW car or Apple phone or tab, like just we have imagined already existing in the world. That is just already we know, just imaginary. So class is nothing but an imaginary. Object is the physically existing. That is the main difference between the class and the object. So next is the, so OOPS concept is the, we have the mainly four pillars now already we discussed in this abstraction. Four pillars. In the first one is the abstraction. So abstraction is the, just like it is the providing the result, hiding the implementation. So what is meant by the result? So already here we are click onto this button now. So once we click onto the open to the window, this is fine, result is fine, but we don't know exactly what they are implemented by the behind. They are hiding now, Salesforce not provided to the coding. This code not provided us know what happened, what is the exactly they are implemented by the behind. So that is called the abstraction. We know the result, we know the functionality, but we don't know what is the exactly implemented by the, what is the programming behind that. We don't know, that is called the abstraction. So about the complexity programming and provided with the set of the interfaces like this. In abstraction, we can have the same like data and functions, variables and methods we call data and properties are, that is we call the properties are functions. So we never know, we don't know now actual what is the behind they are we are using the mobile, but we don't know exactly what is the background they are implementing the yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Correct, correct. Mm. Yeah, day-to-day work bills. So actually here we are clicking onto this button or for example here, ఇది one of the record open. So for example, this is the one button. We click onto the new button, open like this window now. So client is asking to the, I want my own one button here. I want to open by the one new window. In this, I want to display some kind of the information, and I want to some capture the some kind of the information. So that is we are going to developing to the some coding in the background. So once they are given to the all the data now here, once we click on to the save means that record will be the saved into the database. So this total stuff we can write. This is already predefined by the Salesforce to us, but we don't know what is the coding they are written in the background. But as for the client new requirement, we can develop by our own coding. Once we, I want to click on this button, I want to open to one new pop-up window. So we can write our own code. Okay, we are going to create one button. After that, once we click on the button, I want to open to this window. Once window is open, I want to display some certain of the fields. So once we click on the cancel button, I want to close this window. Or if you click on the save, I want to save the record into the database. This total functionality we are going to developing the day-to-day life. So for example, recently what we are going to implementing in the LWC. So actually they have the one object is the countries. So we are going to display the countries into the one pick list. So I want to display the countries in the pick list. Why? Because means in future they want to add it or remove the countries from the object only. They can renaming or something, any kind of the right. So in object level we are going to store, but that object data I want to just to display in the pick list only. In the pick list only. So how we can display pick list? Nothing but the drop down. Now here, for example, we have the rating. Yeah, like this. So some one more scenario also they are asking to, they are decided to the, when they are creating the countries, they have listed out to the some top countries. So they are dealing with to the only with the top countries. So that's purpose they are creating one checkbox, that is the top country. When I'm selecting the checkbox, I want to display only top countries list names only. I don't want to display all the country names. So as per the business requirement, they are going to decide to this is the top company. Regularly, we are dealing with the companies, countries. So that is why they are considered to the top countries or top customers. Regularly, frequently, they are going to connecting. They are giving to business to us now. That is called the top customers. Top 10 customers, 20 customers. We are seeing now. So that kind of the business requirement we are going to developing, we are writing our own coding. Actually this is developed by the Salesforce. This is standard coding regularly common using. But as for the business logic, when I am clicking onto the one checkbox top customers list only, I want to display top customer list in the drop down. If I am not selected, that is by default displayed by the all the customers names. So this is not functionality available in the Salesforce now directly. We don't have the functionality. So just I click on the here customers button. Here I want to display by the one checkbox. Once I selected by the checkbox, I want to display by the top customers only. If I uncheck it, that is I want to display by the all the customers. That is the requirement. That kind of the requirement we are going to developing into the Apex class side and UI. UI nothing but this is our either Aura or LWC we are using to display this window displaying. Anyone is fine. Either Aura or LWC. If you background is the, you are getting the data and already our data stored in the country object. So I need to get the data from the database, means we can must and should use to the Apex class queries. So that writing the Apex classes we followed by the some rules, that is the object oriented programming. Some certain of the rules followed to the coding languages. So very base is the OOPS concepts, object oriented programming languages. Okay, so based on that, they are developing to the .NET, Java programming languages. Base is the OOPS concepts only, but Java and .NET and Salesforce also using to that OOPS concepts based to their own languages, including to their own formatting. So, uh, if you have to that, I will show you the existing code. So one kind of the application just is just some code only implemented in this, not totally implemented. So all our objects based, they are developing to the one application. So like this. So now here, ignore this one. You can, this is here orders, payments like this now. So once I click onto the sales representatives, so here I want to display data based on the some sales representative ID. Some click on the submit button. I want to display the sales representative information. SR002, I think. Yeah, here. Like this is display the data. So for example, if you go to the some something value, it is showing the errors like in that. So like these pages we are going to developing. Like these pages we are going to developing for the requirement client is asking when I'm entered to the sales representative ID or case numbers or any information like that. Or we have to observe now once we are given to our phone number, we can display by the data. Or if you have to observe We can give our vehicle number. It is given to the chalana list. So behind they are developing to this only. Pages, end user using the pages. For example, if I am going to click on the new sales representative, like this information. Once they click on the save button, we can save the record. Save and new also same. We are going to once click on save and new, we can refresh to the total data, right? Clean it and we can go to new data purpose. So like this, we are going to developing by the user. Client will ask to us like this. You are going to develop the pages. That pages we are going to developing now. We can using to the either Lightning Aura components or web components with Apex classes. Apex classes is the common for the classic or Lightning. Either Visual Force pages, Aura components, web component. UI only the different. UI only the different. UI nothing but it depends upon the we are developing either LWC or Aura you are implementing. End of the day you can look like to the same. We don't know. It is implemented by the LWC or Aura. We don't know. As the developer, only know the it is implemented by the in Aura or LWC. But compared to the Aura and LWC is the it is the web standards already we discussed now. When we are starting with the LWC, I will let you that is. So based on the web standards, we can use to the LWC only. So like these pages, so how we are going to develop this total code means, so once come to the developer console, client will give the like screens sometimes, they can give to the UI. Based on that we are going to develop into the application, or they can give to some suggestion like this we can, mostly they can give to us UI. I want to expect in the UI like this, you can implement it like this. So this is the UI purpose component. Na? In component error message I am showing na? Based on the error message we are going to display the error message. Otherwise save and new buttons. This total stuff we are returning the here na? Based on this only here appearing the code based on the UI. For example, here I am changing the save and new place. Here save now. This is I am giving to the not method name, label name 123. I am giving something here. Just I am going to refresh the page here. Now showing this save now. Now it is showing the save 123. See here. Now it is showing now save 123. So each UI depending upon the some controller. This is the one of the class. So we are going to open by the classes. Now we are discussing to the Apex class this side. Aura side already we started and now we are going to dealing the Apex class side. While we are writing these Apex classes, it is the totally execute on the OOPS concepts based only. We are developing to the total OOPS concepts based, object oriented programming based. They have the, some restrictions, some rules. Based on that only we are developing. So in this we have the what is the object, what is the class. Now class is this is just existing sales representative information already we have in the objects. Based on that we are getting the data query. This is the one of the query. This is the one of the DML operation. Insert we are doing now. Insert is the DML operation. So like this code we are going to write the real time based on the requirement. So each topic now we are discussing what is the class. Now we are discussing now. After that we are going to discuss the what is the method. This is the get sales representatives is the one method name. Create is the sales representative another method name. So what is the method? What is the query? This is called the query. What is the query? And what is the DML operation? Earlier we discussed some governor limits. What is the governor limits to the here we discussed? This is the insert is the one of the DML operation. Queries also we have some governor limits up to 100 only we can use it by the single transaction. Single transaction nothing. When we are calling this method, in this method we can able to call the 100 SOQL queries only. Now we are use the one. We have only chance to the 99. Already we are use the one query and up to 99 we can able to use it. If we more than that we can use it, we can throw an error 101 SOQL query error. So in daily real time we are working to like this. So before starting to this, oops concepts is the very important. Based on that only we are developing to the our apex classes. So once the topics is some topics is done, I will give some exercises how to writing the coding. Why? Because means why a parallel I'm explaining na? So if you write this is where should I see the output? I want to see the output means most of the people just showing the in here only. Directly we can just check it by the here debug logs only. Most of the people showing the output. So for example here system dot we are using the, so we are getting the data now. So sr here record, so sr. Now we are going to execute, check it for just output purpose it is running or not. So our class name dot our method name. So it is the parameterized method. We can give the something sr number sr002. Once I click onto the execute method, click on debug logs. Now here appear the information. See here, Ravi Kumar email address. So like this, most of the people explaining like this or like this query is executing. We can see the output, but real time how we can display this output. Now we have seen here. So once come to the here sales reps. Now here I am giving I'm not sure. I think so. So like this, Ravi, this is output. So that's why we can parallelly discuss into the concept and how we can display this output in the UI. Now we got this query result, but how we can display in UI, that is also required. Now in a developer console we can explain. After end of the sections we don't know how we can again display to this sales representative information or some what we are getting the data from the database, right? So that's why parallelly I'm explaining. So easy to understand the how to work to the how to implement it in the real time, how to connectivity to the apex class and UI, and how to get the data and how to display the data in UI also. Okay, so that is the main motto. Most of the people explained the concepts in the here in execute developer console only. But okay, that is not I'm saying any wrong. But end of the day in real time we are working deal with the both parallelly, displaying the data like this. Again we want to know now how we are going to display the data. So that purpose I am parallelly explaining. So before going to start writing the apex class, at least we want to know the business base information of the apex class. So that's why directly we can jump it without to know the hooks concepts also fine. But apex classes mainly running with to the oops based only. So that's why we are going to discuss into the oops concepts as well. Okay, so it's clear now. Any doubt, anything in real time how we are going to working? It's clear or any doubt, any clarification? I am unable to hear you.